This is a fully electric Genesis GV70. And this is the Tesla Model Y electric version. And today we're going to do a full comparison of both of them. The Genesis has 429 horsepower and 516 foot-pounds of torque. Oh my God. It also has a boost button. So when I hit this, it adds 54 horsepower for 10 seconds and you immediately feel the throttle response get turned up a notch. Now this specific Model Y is the long range version, so it has 385 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. Tesla also has a performance Model Y, which is more in line with the GV70 in terms of power, with 456 horsepower and 497 pound-feet of torque. With that said though, the Model Y performance is even less comfortable than the Model Y long range. The battery capacity of the Genesis GV70 is 77.4 kilowatt hours, which is very similar to the Model Y. But because of the coefficient of drag being 0.29 in the Genesis and 0.23 in the Model Y, this doesn't get as much EPA rated range as the Model Y. Now this hasn't been officially tested, but from what I can see when you fill it up to a full battery, it's around 230 miles of range. It does seem to deliver on the accuracy of that range, whereas in other tests I've done with the Model Y, it seems to be very hard to get their rated range. The Genesis also does have some lane keep assist. It's not quite as intuitive as autopilot is. Autopilot is actively keeping you centered into lane and steering for you. Both of these systems need you to be guarding the wheel and be paying attention. So the Genesis kind of bounces you in between lanes, but does have dynamic cruise control, which both of them have. Tesla has the upper hand there because they do have full self-driving. Personally, I think full self-driving is kind of a gimmick. I don't think it's worth $15,000. But the car does have the ability to fully drive itself, whereas this doesn't. And some people see a huge value in that. I just don't think it's for everyone. It's certainly not for me, but I do know people who absolutely love it. Also, both the Genesis and the Tesla are all-wheel drive. Riding in the Genesis is truly a pleasure. Despite this one having 20-inch wheels, it is one of the smoothest, most peaceful cars I have ever driven. Now, it does have an adaptive suspension, so it also has road preview, meaning there are sensors that are seeing what's coming up in the road next to be able to adapt the suspension to make it to be the smoothest outcome possible for you. And I've seen that happen. Even when I go over certain bumps, you can feel the back of the car stiffen to absorb the shock and then release to kind of smooth the car out so there's no bouncing around. The other part of this Genesis is the tire sidewall is significantly thicker than that what's offered on the Model Y, even if you go with the 19-inch wheels. The ride quality in this is incredible. Even all four windows in this, when you put the windows down in the front and the back, have double paned glass. The Tesla only has double paned glass in the front to reduce noise. This has it all the way around, and it's so quiet in here, you can actually barely hear the horn beep. Now, you may look at this as a big luxury cruiser and it's not fast. It is extremely fast. One massive difference between the Model Y and the Genesis is the interior and the simplistic minimalism that this car has. But while it looks simple, the technology that is in the battery management system and the technology that's packed into the screen, which receives over-the-air updates all the time. In fact, I just added one today, which lets me have a search bar to search for something easily through the menus. For example, if I need to search to adjust the mirrors and I don't want to dig through the menus, I just type in mirror, it pops up and shows me exactly where to go. So where this lacks simplicity and maybe luxurious features and buttons and dials, it makes up for it in the huge amount of technology that Tesla packs in here. And the updates that happen in this thing are meaningful. They make a difference to the car. This is a 2020 Model Y, so it's a little louder and rides rougher than the new models that are out right now. But my infotainment system has the same exact functionality that the new ones have. The new ones do have an upgraded chip, so the processor is faster. The screen works more efficiently, but other than that minor difference, which you're only able to tell if you're sitting them side by side, this has the same features and functionality of the new ones. And as an owner, that's really nice to have because you're not looking, oh, the new one has this new feature that mine doesn't have. Tesla's always rolling out little features. So little changes on a short time, big changes if you could look over years. All those little changes add up to a lot of change. So why does this Genesis cost so much more than a Model Y? And is it worth it? So if you're gonna have only one of these cars and you need to rely on it to go to work and to go on the occasional road trip, I recommend that you buy the Tesla because the Tesla charging network has been excellent. Yes, it takes longer than a gas-powered car. Nobody is arguing that. But if you need to stop for a 15 to 30-minute charging session, you get out, stretch, go to the bathroom, you do that every 2 to 3 hours, sometimes every 1.5 hours, depending if you're going up a huge incline and then you need to charge a little bit quicker. But ultimately, the Tesla charging network is a massive value to Tesla customers because it's reliable. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen at the next charger. Does it work? It already knows if it's working or not. I've never had an issue. I've been over to 230 individual Tesla charging sites. I've never had an issue where I could not charge. I've had it one or two times where I've had to wait 10 minutes before I could start to charge, but that's such a minor inconvenience. While my car is charging, I go grab lunch, I take a walk, get back in, I'm refreshed, and I hit the road. But if you aren't doing road trips and this isn't your only car, the Genesis might be for you. This car also has battery preconditioning, which is very important to get the maximum amount of charging speed. So I'm going to show you how to get there, and also an interesting EV screen. So if you click EV right here, and then if you click the car itself, it actually takes you to this screen, which shows you how much time it will take you to get from 52% is what we're currently at up to 90%. So it'll be on an 800 volt charger, 17 minutes, 400 volt 40, and it just breaks it down right there. So actually a really cool screen it has there. Also for your electricity use, it shows you what's draining the car currently in real time. So you can adapt your air conditioning or other electronics, how they're draining the car, and then just an EV economy history. So there are some really cool screens that the car has that you can kind of go through. This is showing we're at an IKEA. It shows you the charging station that's right here that you can go and charge to. But what a lot of people won't know is how fast is that charger going to charge my car. Now for battery preconditioning, the only time it will actually precondition the battery is when you're going to a high-speed charger. So it's not going to precondition the battery when we go to this one at IKEA. It's only for the high-speed chargers. Here's the battery conditioning mode, so you can select if you want it to turn on or off. It does, as it says here, it does reduce some of the range you'd get on the car because it's using energy to keep the battery at a proper temperature. Obviously, I think you should leave that on. Smart regeneration, this can be adapted with the pedals. But yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool screens that you can dig into in this car, and the capabilities, again, of the charging and everything are exceeding what the actual third-party charging network can do. But overall, the luxuriousness of this car is remarkable, and it delivers fairly well with the software. Cooled seats, massaging seats, great sound system, a luxury experience when you get in this car. I've had a lot of press cars. I've driven a lot of cars at this point in my life, and I am excited to get in this thing. You know how Matthew McConaughey, he has those Lincoln commercials and he's just kind of rolling his fingers side by side. I actually find myself sitting in this, doing that. I for some reason put my elbow here and I kind of go like this, like I run a company or like I'm worth a damn. I feel better in this car. I love it. It's so luxurious. So if you're cruising around town, you just want to take this to the grocery store, you just want to take this to the mall, you just want to pick up honeys at the club. This is an incredible car. Alcantara roof liner, active noise canceling microphones that are planted here to make it crystal clear when you're talking to someone over the Bluetooth speaker. It has Apple CarPlay. This is an incredible luxury experience. You get insane performance while still maintaining a high level of comfort. This legitimately rivals that of a Porsche. I've driven the Porsche Taycan. It's an incredible car to drive. This has that same sense of luxuriousness to it. The performance, the sound deadening, the sound system, it is excellent. I can't say enough good about this car. So with all that good, where does the Genesis hurt in comparison to the Tesla? That comes in the charging department. The charging capabilities of this car far exceed what the capabilities of the third-party network are. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't chargers that can't get this to its full potential. There absolutely are, and this is a drone shot of one of them. I mean, this is a 350 kilowatt charger that's more powerful than any Tesla charger in the country. The problem is these are not known for their reliability. The network is not nearly as dense. Tesla has like 45,000 chargers across the US, and Electrify America has very few. And that's, if you get to them, sometimes they're not even up and running, and you don't know before you even get there half the time. So that's the huge problem with this, and that's why I say if you're going to be driving it around town and you have a charger at home, you're going to absolutely love this car. I just caution you on your road trips. That's all. I'm just cautioning you. I'm not saying don't do it, just caution. This also charges very quick. You can get from 10 to 80% state of charge in 16 minutes if you're using one of those very high-powered chargers. Tesla has more interior space, more storage space, and a better charging network. The Genesis is a more luxury vehicle in the traditional sense. Better ride quality, quiet cabin, Papa John's, and massive power. So despite having a massive cost difference, these both serve a different purpose and end user and do an excellent job of filling gaps in the EV market. Or you could get divorced, leave your family, and buy a manual transmission Toyota Supra and enjoy the open road. Now, if you're considering buying an SUV and you're not exactly sure which one to buy, click this video right here, the review I did on the Ford Bronco. I think you may find that useful, or not.